Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault. Today we are reviewing the Imperial ATHauler set. It's one of the largest sets from the latest Star Wars 2018 Summer Wave, and it contains 830 parts, sells for $99.99, and comes with 5 minifigures. There's Val, Kira, 2 of Dryden's guards, and Rio, with a really interesting new mold for his double arms. I'm going to be going through this set with showing all the features, of course, of the ship. But first, let's check out the minifigs. And actually, I really want to start with Rio. So this guy is a rather interesting looking alien from the latest Solo movie. And look at this arm mold that we've got. It's basically 2 minifigure arms that have been kind of fused close to the elbow, but you can tell there's enough definition in the mold that it really is kind of 4 independent arms that should be moving, well, independently of each other. It's a really cool looking minifigure mold. I have a feeling Lego's going to be implementing more minifigures like that in the future, because they did bother to go through the trouble to make this guy now, so it'd be fun to see more minifig arms like that for weird creatures or characters from other themes in the future. But here's his head mold. Kind of looks a bit like a monkey or something. Bit of a blue furry creature. I like the detailing for the body, and yeah, he's a really cool looking guy. I'm really happy that we have him. I didn't remember him that well from the film, but he does make for an excellent minifigure. And now here is Val. Val's got that awesome fro piece. The detailing for the body is also pretty darn good. Actually, the detailing for all these minifigures is pretty sweet. She's got some fur printing there on the front, and you can see it go kind of on the collar for the back. Also, this is some type of device. I don't know if that's a tracking device or a bomb or something. I can't fully remember, but she does look kind of decked out and ready for a heist, which is basically the situation these characters are in for the universe of the set. The fur detailing for Kira is pretty darn good. This, I think, is a better version of Kira from the last sets. I just like the torso print better. It's totally furry on the back. She comes with a couple of expressions, I think the same as well from the last version of her. And actually, let me go back to Val. I forgot to show you her alternate expression. This is her sort of regular one. You can see the cheekbone definition, and then the back, she's got her goggles, which is actually, I think, a cooler print. Really good looking print. I think actually really useful outside of the universe of this set. Now let's move on to the guards. The torsos and leg printing are the same. Kind of cool. I like that bit of crossed cloth that you get up by the shoulders and the chest. That looks pretty good. And then the mold for the head is very much like I want to say a angry Planet of the Apes, maybe. A lot of monkey themed characters. I don't know. That's just what I'm getting out of this. This is the more angry guy. I think this part of the mold actually looks a little bit weird. Just the neck bit of it kind of coming out here. And then this guy, he looks definitely not happy, but not quite as angry as the last. So these are the 5 figs. Now let's move on to the ATHauler. All right, now first thing is first. I've got this thing set up wrong. I just like the way it looked for the thumbnail, but this is not its normal landing position. I'm currently morphing it into the actual landing position it's supposed to be in. It has some sort of feet landing gear that come out, and this is what the Imperial ATHauler should be like when it's actually on the ground. The detailing for the feet, the landing gear on the feet, actually looks pretty good. It's not really necessary. This is just kind of more for show than what's actually necessary for the model to sit down. The feet aren't really touching, and the actual point of contact, is right here with all of this Technic. So you don't really have to worry about that particular position. But anyways, pretty decent looking ship. It hadn't particularly grabbed me during the movie as much, but it is an interesting design. I really like this detailing. I feel like for some reason that kind of makes it for me. It's got sort of an eye reminiscent look to it, but it just brings sort of an extra bit of fun to the shape of the ship. And before anybody else says it, or I'm sure people are saying it, yes, the coloration for the ship isn't totally accurate. It was a gray ship, but guess what? X-Wings look mostly gray, snow speeders are definitely gray, but LEGO makes them all in white. I get it. It kind of, not all the ships are gray all of a sudden, so it breaks up the sort of sum total of LEGO ship sets that come out, so that's nice. And I think it actually looks all right, because there is a bit of gray. You can see it for sure, and that kind of just adds just a bit more visual variation to the overall look of this guy. So I'm kind of glad that they did that. And when you've got the wings out, this is sort of the flying mode, they do ask you to kind of bend these feet forward, and I guess it does look a little bit better in that respect. So this is the ship, and yeah, like you can see, there aren't really any weapons on it. This is an ATHauler. This is just an Imperial hauler, so it's just a transport ship. Only this stud gun and the equivalent on the other side. Those are the only ones present. And in terms of a playset, it's really not, I mean, it's not as accessible as certain other playsets are in terms of swooshing and shooting at the same time. This is definitely a swooshable set. It's super, super solid. The funny thing about this ship in general is you're pretty much looking at a Technic set that just has plates covering it. Right underneath all of this is just one layer of plates, pure Technic on the inside. The head, this part of the head at least, has got a bit of just regular LEGO system pieces and stuff, but pretty much right under here and everywhere that goes across the sort of walkway, gangplank, everything down here, it's pretty much all Technic. So it's probably one of the better disguised Technic sets to come for like a LEGO Star Wars system set, so that's kind of funny. But let's get inside. Now the cockpit has a decent amount of space inside, though the walls are sort of slanted and narrow, so I figure it's only worthwhile just putting Rio in here right now. There is that one bit of sticker detailing. It just kind of shows some, some basic detailing that outlines the ship, and Rio stands in there without too much difficulty. This is a sticker detailing. There's a few sticker details, and the only thing that is a print, I believe, in this set is the thing I mentioned before. It's just these tiny little slits that are supposed to be, I think, just little observation windows from the main deck here. And yeah, that's pretty much the cockpit. It opens and closes very easily, but, oops, there we go. But let's check out its main feature, which is actually transportation. Here is a cargo crate, and the cool thing about this is if you get good enough, it's not the easiest function. You can kind of lead one hole and the other, and then it fits right in. You didn't have to do anything. That actually was a lot easier than, let's say, if you had one of those little hook pieces like with those old Aqua sets and you were trying to grab onto a treasure chest or something. Yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult, but not that bad. And there's also a little bit of give. You see how I'm leaning the ship forward and back? I kind of like that. It's a little bit loose in the front, and that totally makes sense in terms of having a cargo, sort of a cargo carrying apparatus for a ship. There is going to be wobble and sway, and that's going to make it a lot easier on the ship instead of having it rigidly attached super strong and kind of throwing the weight off in a really terrible way. That wobble is good for both the ship on like a physically logistical way, and it works as a toy as well. Now let me move on to this. This in front of us now is the Convex bit of the transport train set. That's not part of this set. You can combine the other one. I'll do that in a different review. But I just wanted to show you because this is sort of, part of the same scene, and this is really what the transport should be picking up. There is a bit of kind of finicking around. I haven't been able to pick it up without using at least a hand to kind of just get that piece in there. And it's kind of fun to try to just get it to hook in on its own. And it still works pretty well. It kind of fell out right there, but not in any terrible way. It's a lot heavier too, which is kind of cool. And there's still that wobble. Yeah, this time I got it to hook pretty well. It's not falling out. So that's cool that this ship has the ability. Can I detach on my own? Can I unlock it? That one's out. Can I do it? Oh, there we go. Yep, see, nothing broke. And well, that's partially because everything in here is Technic. The attachments for this ship, everything attached within here is really strong. It wouldn't be able to pick up anything like this. Well, probably not quite as easily if it wasn't so heavily fortified on the inside with all the Technic. taking just a closer look at some of the details that the designers kind of wanted you to be able to see. This is also a sticker print. I think the stickers on this are particularly not great just because they stick out in kind of an odd way. They're very dark and very, very, like, I want to say overly mechanical. They just reveal a ton of open things. Like if Lego tried to make something intricate that looked like that in Greeble form, it would be a very complex looking kind of build, and you don't see any equivalent of that. Oops, I was holding that in a funny way. You don't see any equivalent of this type of heavy greebling really anywhere on the ship except for right here, and even there it's still pretty light. So I want to say that this feels a little bit funny as sticker detailing. Well, anyways, it wouldn't have mattered. I probably wouldn't have liked it even if it was a print, just would have liked it as a print just because you can, here we go, let me turn that down, you can see a little better. This is cool, you got a Technic wheel as a detail here, along with sort of some Technic wing pieces. I think it fits pretty well. This is nice and studded, but there's lots of tiles that kind of break that look up, so this doesn't really juxtapose that design too much. And then here you can also seat some minifigs. This is where I believe is seen with Han and, oop, I broke the other side of that off this time around. Heyo. All right, well, I kind of like leaving that in the reviews where you're sort of handling it. I'm learning the parts of the model that maybe you shouldn't be putting all that support on. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. There's some little bits of colorful Technic exposed there in the back. Doesn't bother me too much, mostly because the rest of the detailing here is also Technic. And you know what? Certain transport ships probably would have a couple of flashing indicator colors like, hey, don't stand too close to the edge or something like that. So I feel like you can almost fit that into the universe. This feels a little bit funny. I mean, the brown in general kind of juxtaposes really sharply against the white. So it's kind of a funny color combination. I feel like the gray, if it was gray or even dark gray, the brown wouldn't sort of stick out quite as much as it does on this model. But ultimately, I actually think just the ship with its stark, kind of odd color arrangement and the weird sort of unique shape, I think it's just an interesting looking Star Wars ship in general, so I'm glad to have it. Now there's one other bit of the set that I want to show you guys. You can hear the rattling around. This is the cargo crate, and you're not just crating around nothing. These are stickers once again, and you've got these nice bright doors. I actually kind of like the look of this crate. And inside is a little cart that slides out, and you've got weapons. It's 2 blaster rifles and 2 more blast rifles, the large kind, which is nice. You don't usually get the large ones as often. Usually in a battle pack or something, you might only get 1 of them, so that's cool that you get 4 in this set. Maybe 1 is a spare. I forgot to check my spare parts cup. But yeah, so that's the cargo crate. And so in conclusion, we've got the whole set together now. My final thoughts on the ship are, personally, I like the ship. The general shape of the ship, I think, works as a Lego build. Their choice to make it white and gray was, I think, a good idea instead of making it gray and gray or gray and dark gray or something like that. It does juxtapose, I think, a little bit negatively with the brown on the underside and down here. So that could be somewhat of a ding, and definitely, I think, the sticker detailing being very, very intricate, showing a lot of open hull pieces with all this pipe detailing, that just doesn't work. This part of the look doesn't work. This part feels a little bit funny, but the general shape of the ship I do enjoy. The minifigs I feel like are pretty decent. I really like the 2 female characters. Rio is amazing with his double arms. These guys here, the guards, I like them. I like the head. The back of the mold just does feel a little bit funny, and it feels like Lego has definitely done a better job with that. I don't know why it's not covered up. Who knows? Maybe they do have weird skinny necks and I just didn't notice in the movie. But ultimately, I like this, but I can tell you right now, it's $99.99. It's $100, 830 pieces. So the part to price ratio, you know, that's a thing. But it is just in general a high price set for a ship that I'm not totally sold that a lot of people are gonna like. That's just sort of my personal intuition. Doesn't have a lot of fighting features. It does kind of look cool, but it's not, I don't know. I just have a feeling this isn't gonna be the most popular of ships. On a personal note, I just think it is kind of a cool setup for a ship, so I do enjoy it, but I just got this gut feeling that it's not gonna have, it really is not supposed to be set down like this. I just like it in its flying mode when it's down. It just looks cooler this way. But anyways, so I have this weird gut feeling that I'm not sure it's gonna be the greatest set, but like in terms of success, but I do like the look of it. And the minifigs are decent. The cargo crate, it's fine, sure. I like the fact that it can integrate with the other set that's literally right outside the viewpoint here. But anyways, I would like to know what you guys think about it. This is just my opinion. And right, so if you enjoy our content here at Brick Vault, feel free to like or subscribe, and we will see you next time at Brick Vault. Oh, hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to pop in really quick and say that we do have a web store, brickvault.toys, that sell instructions for super high quality mocks that are built by incredibly talented designers. So that is the first link in the description below. And also there's other videos too. We've got other things if you want to watch that. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.